under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
Good evening, fans of fantastic films. Welcome to Nilbog, your new home for the evening on tonight's Drive at Asylum double feature. I'm Bill Van Ryn. You know who I am. Across from me is Sam Panico. And you probably know who he is, too. At least I hope you do.
Welcome back, everybody, to the show.
What about tonight's program?
I'm beyond excited. I did a lot of research last night, so I'm very excited. I didn't know if I had to do research on this movie. I know way too much about this movie, but I'm excited about it.
Troll 2.
Troll 2, yeah. A movie originally called Goblin, which makes a lot more sense when you see it. But there you go.
It sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In fact, it seems like this totally has nothing to do with the original Troll.
The American producers decided to name it Troll 2, which is pretty awesome. If you guys like it, I'm sure. Let me know let us know who's seen it and who hasn't. If you haven't seen it, get ready. If you have seen it, I also recommend Best Worst Movie, which is a documentary about it, which is amazing and will really shine a lot of light on how this got made, why it got made, a lot of the weirdness that happened.
I haven't seen that movie. I remember when it was theatrical. Wasn't it theatrical?
Yeah.
It wasn't direct to video.
No, they did a tour with it and with the doc and everything. Yeah, and they actually did a set that has both movies together, which I have, which is pretty great. So, the great thing about this movie is it's my favorite genre of all. Italian filmmakers, loose in America. This time in a really small town, very very small town. And why would that happen? How did they get there? Why did they get there? These are questions that we'll try to answer tonight.
I knew that was totally going to get you excited.
Yeah.
I was like, this is exactly... well, you chose this movie.
Yeah, and Becca picked it too because she's been wanting to show it for a while.
Becca likes this movie too?
She loves this movie, yeah. So this is a big favorite of hers. The thing that's funny about it is a lot of people... the documentary is called Best Worst Movie Ever. I 100% disagree that this is a bad movie. It's not well made. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no continuity. There's like 15 stories going on. But the only bad movie is a boring movie, and in no way will you be bored by this movie.
Yes, I feel the same way about Troll 2 because people that talk about how bad this movie is and everything, you have not seen a bad movie. If you think Troll 2 is the worst movie ever made, at least there are things to see in Troll 2, which is, that's the most basic thing you could say about a movie is that you're watching it, but at least there's something on the screen in Troll 2. I've seen movies where, for better or worse, I didn't know what was on the screen. We've watched a couple of them here on the program.
I'm midway through 2 weeks of shot on video movies for the website. Let me tell you, Troll 2 is not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not anywhere even close. I've seen it, in double digits probably. I've watched it a lot of times. I've seen it in theaters. I've seen it, obviously, at home lot, and it's just there's a lot going on in it, and I love it. Shot in Porterville, Utah, in the late '80s. Could you imagine living in a small Utah town and having this crew show up in your town?
Someone's already talking about Things. It's going to be a good program.
I like Things too. I have no taste whatsoever. I enjoy it.
No, why would you not like Things?
Yeah.
I'm sure Mike didn't mean it that way.
No, I know. Bill asked.
Welcome everybody, by the way. There's a nice crew in the chat tonight, and we have at least 3 birthdays this week that I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh man.
And they were like 3 comments in a row. Vince Cornelius, happy birthday to you. John Strikers, it was his birthday. Maybe like Sunday last week. I don't remember when John's birthday was. And Mandy's birthday was just like 2 days ago.
Oh,
so
man.
Happy birthday to all you fun folks. And if it was your birthday recently and we missed it, well, happy birthday to you too.
I should have got you a magic mirror for Christmas. You could have brought it up on the show, Romper Room style.
I bought my sister a magic mirror for
did
Christmas.
You? Oh,
it was a Halloween prop. She loves Halloween as much as I do. And like all like the, you know, stupid shit that screams at you. I got her a mirror, and you pick it up, and there's a skull that appears, or a witch lady, and she screams.
Oh,
I could have used something.
Your hair in a mirror.
Exactly.
So yeah, this movie is directed by Drake Floyd, but who the fuck is he fooling? It's Claudia Fragasso. Drake Floyd's a great name. There's a lot of American.
It's no John Old.
John Old. If you ever see John Old the Third online, that's me. But there's a couple other Italian folks that I didn't realize worked on this movie that I found in my research. So I'm pretty excited about that to reveal that to you guys. But Claudia Fragasso is, this is the third Claudia Fragasso movie we've shown. Because he did Rats, the Nights of Terror. He wrote that. And he also did Night Killer, which, give me 2 seconds, I can talk about it for 10 years.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Was he the director of Night Killer, or did he just write it? Okay.
Yes and no. The gore scenes are shot by Bruno Mattei. And the hand in the stomach, that was all clipped on by him back in Italy. All the parts on the beach and the psychological humor or whatever it is, the flushing pants down the toilet, that's all Claudio. So that makes maybe a little more sense. Yeah, he also did Monster Dog, as Vince brings up. And he broke in to making films, assistant directing. The Bruno Mattei way of doing movies was get a location, make 2 movies at the same time with the same cast. Like The True Story of the Nun of Monza and The Other Hell, or Women's Prison Massacre and Violence in a Women's Prison. Both made at the same time. Actually, the same cast is almost in all 4 of those movies. And they would just run back and forth and shoot all this stuff. So, yeah. Fragasso also wrote Double Target, Strike Commando, Hell of the Living Dead, Zombie 3, and yes, Mike is right. He directed Zombie 4 After Death, as well as Beyond Darkness, which is La Casa 5.
With Jeff Stryker.
Yes. So almost all of his movies show up on worst movie lists. I disagree with this. Another person who produced this is David Hills, but who's he fooling? That's Joe D'Amato. But yeah, he used the name David Hills for this movie.
What was the point of these pseudonyms?
It was originally thought that Americans would not go see movies with Italian named talent. That was the original.
That was probably true at some point.
So that's why Mario Bava is John Old, because he was kind of insulted by it, and they said, "Well, you need an American name." He's like, "Give me any old name," and they're like, "John Old." He's like, "Okay, great," and that's how he got that one.
How humiliating.
Yeah, but by the other worry was by the 80s, the Italians were making so many movies so fast that people may be led to believe, I just can't get this sentence out. People may be led to believe that the quality wasn't as great as they would expect from an American movie. So they were given American names and they would Americanize their names. Jury's out on that. This is written by Fragasso's wife, Rosella Drudy, who wrote a lot of stuff with him. And she was really inspired by the fact that all of their friends had become vegetarians and were forcing vegetarianism upon them, and she hated it. She liked eating meat. So that's, again, in case you're wondering, and she called it Goblin. So in case you're wondering why this is about that, that's why it's about that. And yeah, David, I agree. That's why I'm John Old III, because Lombardo got Junior. So I took that one. There is another, we'll get to it in a second, but there's another talk about Nepo babies, another Italian exploitation Nepo baby in the crew of this movie, which is pretty exciting. The only person that could speak English of the crew was the costume designer, who is Laura Gemser.
Laura Gemser.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to talk to you about that.
Yeah, Black Emanuelle herself, who after she finished acting, this same year she also did an exercise video. Do I have it? Yes. A jazzercise kind of video, but she went into costume design and makeup. And it's funny because in a lot of later Joe D'Amato movies, I'm like, the most gorgeous woman in this movie wasn't even in the movie. She was putting makeup on everybody else, but she was kind of getting burned out on being an actress. So yeah, so she translated, and I guess because neither Fragasso or Rosella spoke great English, they wrote the script in the pidgin English that they knew. And if you see Best Worst Movie, there's a lot of times where Claudio freaks out about stuff. He refers to actors as dogs, which is a very Lucio Fulci thing. It means horrible people, an Italian term, and horrible people to deal with. So he wanted his dialogue said exactly as he wrote it.
That's what he called the actors.
Yeah, I refer to them as dogs and liars.
He got mad at them when they were talking. He was so into this movie.
Yeah,
he really wanted this movie to do well and to be taken seriously, I guess.
Yeah. So so anybody that had questions about the script or what was happening had to go to Laura Gemser and talk to her, and she would translate back to everybody. It's kind of not the right place to be in, right? The American producers again tried to name this Troll 2, which is so. Don't be mad at the don't feel bad for the Italians, because Joe D'Amato also released a Troll 3, which is the Crawlers / Contamination Point 7, and also Quest for the Mighty Sword, which is one of the Ator movies, was also released as Troll 3. But that one is allowed to because it actually has one of the troll costumes. They recycled one of the costumes from this. The costume of the trolls or goblins or whatever the fuck they are is my favorite thing about this movie, because they're ridiculous. Like, the minute I see them, my heart fills with, like, what is that? His heart grew, the Grinch, how his heart grew that many sizes.
It's super Halloweenish.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous. Yeah,
it's literally like, you never accept it as anything other than a Halloween costume. Yeah. Which, who really needs a convincing monster in their movie?
It's weird because this. I'll get to it in a second. I have a theory about this movie. It's a very schizophrenic movie because the dark movies are incredible. The dark moments are incredibly dark, and the other parts aren't. Like, it really doesn't know at times what kind of movie. Night Killer is that way too, where there's moments where it's like really upsetting if you think about it, and then other moments where it's just laughable. So, I guess that's a Claudio Fragasso directorial tick. They always.
Well, that's the thing with a lot of Italian films are like that, and that's why they're so bizarre to me, anyway. Is because of that very thing that you mentioned, like that tonally, the films are very uneven.
Yeah, one minute you're talking about Simon Le Bon, the other minute someone's head's getting cut off.
It's not even that. It's just like it was like you said, that where they're coming from changes constantly. It's like sometimes they're being like really subversive and they're talking about rape and incest and all these like touchy subjects, and then the next minute there's monsters in a Halloween costume running around. So
yeah, this movie has like monsters in a Halloween costume, but it's also about a young boy losing the first person in his life, losing his grandfather. So it's like a study of grief and him coming to grips with the fact of his mortality, where when the first person that's died he's ever known, he has to realize that his whole family will die. And that, I think, in my reading of this, it's way too deep, right? This is my elevated horror bullshit reading of this. All of this is in Joshua's head because he's had to deal with the stress of his grandfather dying and how horrible it is. And then all of a sudden, everything is out to kill him. Everything's out to kill his parents. The town they go to is filled with goblins. Becca.
The moral is.
Yeah, Becca said the moral is. Go ahead, tell him, baby. She said the moral of the movie is, if you take anything away from it, you don't piss on hospitality. I won't let you.
And don't ever forget it.
And he gives that speech about tightening his belt and going without dinner.
Well, George Hardy, who plays that character, the dad, was a dentist. He showed up. Every single person that has a lead role in this movie showed up to be an extra and got a lead role, which that should tell you about what you're about to see in this movie. And also, George Hardy said he jumped up on a table in front of a room of 5 smoking Italians, including Joe D'Amato, and just screamed all the lines and screamed the line about his belt. And they said, "You're hired." He's like, "Do you even speak English?" No one answered him because nobody spoke English. They just liked his energy. And he brings that energy into this. Man, he really brings it in. Everybody brings, there's a lot of legitimate craziness among some of the actors, which is, we'll get to. But yeah, a lot of good dancing. Becca and I have taken a lot from the dance of this movie. There's a lot of dancing moments. But the Italian crew is pretty wild. The director of photography is Giancarlo Fernando, who was Sergio Martino's DP on almost every one of his movies. All the Colors of the Dark, Torso, Your Vice is a Locked Room, Hands of Steel, American Rickshaw, another Italians and American movie that I like. And also in God Said to Cain, which is one of the best Italian Westerns ever, a horror Western. The art director is Massimo Lentini, who was did the art direction for a lot of Fulci's movies, including New York Ripper and The Beyond. The makeup artist is Maurizio Tirani, who did the Sinbad movie, is responsible for Zombie. The zombies coming out of the dirt, that's him. Also Cinema Paradiso. So who says that all Italian movies are bad? And Emmanuel in America and Dawn of the Mummy. So Bill, yeah, the same makeup guy that did Zombie did Dawn of the Mummy. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? And finally, the assistant director of this movie is Alexandra Humbert. And does anybody know who her dad is? Humphrey Humbert is her dad. Humphrey Humbert is Umberto Lenzi. So the assistant director is Alessandra Lenzi, the daughter of Italian director Umberto Lenzi, and our Nepo baby for this movie. She also assistant directed High Finance Woman with Joe D'Amato, Cop Target, and her father's movie Hitcher in the Dark, which I 100% think is better than The Hitcher or sleazier, either way. So what a crew that came to America without being able to speak English. And a lot of them had been there before, though, had made movies before. But yeah, a lot of the same crew of New York Ripper making this movie, which is a very, I guess it's is this a family-friendly movie? I don't know. So, yeah.
It's about a family.
It's a, what? Oh. I think the thing that's funny about it is the other deep reading I have of it is this is very much like the late mid 80s, like recession hitting, right? And the father is like kind of doesn't have a job and always dreamed of being a farmer, right? So he's going to go back.
Go to Disney. We gotta go to Disney.
Yeah, like where are we going to go for vacation this year? We're all going to Nilbog and we're going to learn how to be farmers. No one ever questions at any point that Nilbog, if you didn't figure it out, that Nilbog is goblin backwards. It's like every asshole that like Dr. Alucarda seems like a very strange person.
Johnny Alucard.
Johnny Alucard, yeah. Nobody ever.
Cushing needs a diagram.
Yeah.
He's looking at a diagram in front of him. It looks like a cat's cradle. It's like, dude, come on.
And they they trade places. This is pre-Airbnb, but they switch places with the Presence family, and they head on out there. And meanwhile, Holly, who's the dancing daughter, crowd favorite, her boyfriend Elliot, she thinks her boyfriend Elliot's gay, which is like, man, okay, I guess this is an 80s movie that you can just say, I think you're gay and I don't want to date you anymore, because all he wants to do is hang out with his friends. So his friends jump in an RV and follow him on vacation with the entire family out to the farming town in Nilbog. The friends deal with a much worse fate than anybody else in this movie. Probably the only movie, spoiler warning, that you're ever going to see where someone gets turned into popcorn by a witch that has a piece of Stonehenge. Is this a side sequel to Halloween 3? I ask you.
There aren't many movies you couldn't tie to Troll 2.
Oh.
They could have called it anything on. It could have been, Silence of the Lambs 2. Had that come out yet? Yeah, well, no, it was. I think this was first.
Yeah, this came out in 90. That came out in 91. Yeah. But also, Joshua, the son, can speak to his dead grandfather only through mirrors and hitchhikers. The grandfather's power set's very strange. It changes throughout the movie. Like what can he do? What can he do? Near the end, he's like, I only have 10 minutes before I go to heaven. So let's have a seance so I can help all of you guys. Is the belief system of the grandfather any more fucked up than most religions? Probably not. There's a lot of magic and a lot of ridiculousness. Anyway, so they go to this town and man, things don't go well. My favorite character in this movie is Credence Leonore Gilgold, which is a great name. Sheriff Gene Freak is the best name in this movie. When he yells, "I'm Sheriff Gene Freak," I laugh every time. But Deborah Reed, who played the witch in this movie, went on to be in the makeup department for Dumb and Dumber. I blame Utah Films. It's the same way. If you look at the crew for Halloween 5 and 6, those guys worked on every Utah movie. Not the most important Utah movie of all time, though, which we all know is Night Train. Yes. But, yeah, man, there is a sequel to this, Control. I've never watched it because it feels like it's going to be a little more. This is my favorite thing about this movie. This is why I don't like Trauma and why I like these kind of movies. This movie is in no way aware of how fucked up it is. Like, this wasn't made as a joke when you see it. Like, Claudia Vergrasso is not in on any joke. This isn't like Birdemic 2 or anything. Like, he's making a movie that has something to say throughout. Like, ask him about Night Killer. He feels the same way. Like, there's a message in that too. How that message gets translated from his brain to the rest of the world onto celluloid, I don't know, but I'm glad he does it. He's making another movie right now. His first one in like 7 or 8 years. If he needs crowdfunding, it's one of the few people I would crowdfund for a movie.
I really wish that they had hurried up and made a sequel to Showgirls. Back when it was original, and Paul Verhoeven was his grand MGM musical, and at the end she's hitchhiking out of Vegas and there's a sign that says Los Angeles because they were planning on making a sequel where she went to LA and got into the movie business. But of course it didn't.
What if she shows up in Maxine in character?
If she does, I'm just gonna faint dead away right then and there.
My last thing I have to say about this movie is you're
not done talking about it. I just had a little diversion.
Oh no, I just have one. My favorite thing about this, favorite of many things about this movie is obviously the scene where Joshua jumps up on the table and has to stop his family from eating. So what would you do? Would you knock the plates on the floor, or would you just urinate all over your family's food? If that's what happens. And Claudia Vergrasso was really upset with the script that his wife wrote. And he said to her, and this is a quote, he was supposed to be possessed by the grandfather and wipe all the plates off the table. And he said, possessed, that's a bullshit, boring. You stand up, you piss all over the table. And the kid who played Joshua was like, I was like 10 years old. I'm like, I'm not going to pee on the table. And he's like, don't worry, you jump on the table, you unzip the zipper, I cut. We come back, piss on table. A visionary, a genius.
It's not like he'd do something indecent,
No. But, man, I'd like to think, we're really big on cinematic universes now and like every movie being connected. This movie's in the same universe as Rats, a movie that nonstop doesn't make sense from beginning to end. And stuff happens in it where you're like, what? And like, it's almost, you can't ask questions because something else comes. So you're almost so bewildered by questions by Vergrasso's movies that you just have to just hold on. You know what I mean? And just grab something and make it through it. This movie it's crazy because Wonder Woman will make a lot more sense than this movie, which is another movie that's all over the place, but not to this. No movie is as all over the place as Troll 2. The other wild thing is the director who played Joshua. He talks about it in Best Worst Movie. He waited and waited for this movie to come out, and it was never coming out. And his parents bought it for him for Christmas when it came on video. And he said 2 minutes into the movie, I wish they hadn't given it to me for Christmas. He's like, it's not. It really ruined our whole Christmas when we finally saw what it was. I think that's hyperbole. I think that this movie's great. If you haven't guessed that by now, if you haven't picked up my love of this movie, right?
This is definitely one of your faves.
It definitely is.
This is one of those movies we've been talking about doing ever since we started doing this show.
Yeah.
Like, when are we going to do Troll 2?
And this is a crowd pleaser too, right? Because it's just fun.
Tonight it happens. Tonight we watch it, and we need some beverages to help us get in the mood. So
Oh my
what do you
God,
got
we
for
need
us?
Drinks more than ever before for this one. So let's mix it up. This one's the No Bog Milk. There's a lot of cursed milk, cursed hamburgers, cursed food in this movie. Yeah, it's something else. So this one's going to start with 2 ounces of cold gin.
How do you feel?
Hey, it's cold gin time again.
Well, all right.
I hear you people out there in Driving Asylum chat room like blue curacao. How about a ½ ounce? Oh, yeah. All right. And then next is amaretto. We're going to do ½ ounce amaretto. Oh, Steve, thanks for putting the recipe up. I appreciate it.
I'll tell you something, Sam. I'm on brand tonight. I am making this drink.
You are? Oh, my gosh.
Except I substituted vodka for gin.
That's okay.
But it's cold.
Cold gin. This is an ounce of cream of coconut, and that also has the pineapple juice. And an ounce of pineapple juice. And lime juice, which is 0.75 ounce of lime juice. Drops of vanilla, and then did you simple syrup too?
Yeah.
And 0.5 ounce of simple syrup. Oh my gosh, it's all in there. So
I pre-mixed all that stuff.
you did. That's what Becca did too. Becca put it all together for me to make this show appear more professional. It's pretty exciting.
Thank you, Becca.
I try.
She does. She's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, I think people like pouring watching me pour
As
bottles.
I cleaned all of our white cabinets today, speckles.
All right.
How are you shaking already?
I can hold on. I can hold on for just one more day if you try it.
I'm coming, Mama. I'm coming. You can hold on. Oh, look how pretty that is.
It's no bog milk.
Blue and green.
Yeah, a little more blue than green. That's okay. It's kind of like if we were showing Star Wars, we could say that it was blue milk.
Oh my God. It's like we're on Tatooine.
Yeah, there's 2 stuns outside today. What's going on in Tatooine?
That was some bullshit, wasn't it?
It was
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Come on.
That was some total bullshit. Like he makes this movie and then all of a sudden, oh, I always planned 6 movies.
I always
No, you
play to rip
didn't.
off the Hidden Fortress.
Anyway, Pazuzu. Oh, I love this. I'm so glad I made
Becca's
this.
going to try some.
No.
Please try some. Please try some.
I knew this was going to happen. I have a straw and it got in my mustache anyway because I didn't use the straw.
He said it's good. Pazuzu, it's good.
She likes it. Hey, Becca.
It needs more pineapple, but it's good.
You want me pour in some more pineapple?
I don't want.
I'll do a little pineapple float.
Oh, I think
Now
it
it's
is
getting greener.
delish.
Yeah, you need more pineapple.
Yeah, one more
But-
pine. Hey, is it too early for me to say I'm worried about that new Exorcist movie?
No. Why are you worried about it? I mean, what could be bad about it? Ellen Burstyn's in it.
Yeah, I mean, David Gordon Gray's never made a bad movie, and I mean, it's not a remake.
He never
It's
made a good movie.
it's a
either.
sequel, kind of, right? I think we got Claudia Fragasa make it, and then I'll have to love it.
I wonder what Billy Friedkin thinks of this Exorcist reboot. Is he all in on this?
He's
Or?
like, cha-ching.
Yeah. So, as you can probably guess, there are no newsprint ads for Troll 2. This never played theatrically in the United States, despite what IMDb says. Because IMDb says that it had like an October release. I think what they meant was it premiered on video in October of 1990. So it didn't show theatrically. So I just pulled some stuff from my London series to show. And
I will say that this was in every video store.
yes, it really was.
Also, the effects guy on this movie also did the effects for Piranha 2. So there is that.
Oh, really? There is a connection.
There is a connection, yeah. This double feature, I got to tell you, this is a Sam Panica double feature right here.
Mm-hmm.
I love Silent Rage to a ridiculous degree, and I will dare to see it at the Piccadilly Circus Arrows Theater.
Yeah, this was an interesting pairing, to say the least.
We've talked about before, I really like Piranha 2 a lot.
I love Piranha 2.
Yeah, it's like it's got something.
It's like this movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's not good, but it's fascinating, and it is sort of engrossing.
I always say it's not good, but it's great.
It's another one of those movies where everybody's motivation is totally, it's impenetrable, and you just don't know why anyone, like, why is she in this room with a stopped up sink, and she's digging around in there, and she knows the movie's called Piranha 2.
Why do fish fly? Like, why?
Yeah.
You know. By the way, that Flying Killers font is amazing.
Well, that's what I wanted to mention. This was known as Piranha 2 Flying Killers in the UK. It has a different subtitle depending on what country it played in. So in London, it was known as Piranha 2 Flying Killers.
And Mike, thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, the same director as Class Reunion. The same year he made both those movies, which is wild.
So check out this one.
Man.
This is an interesting, like, I never saw this ad used in a newsprint. I've seen this image, but I didn't know this was an actual newsprint ad, but here we are.
It looks
John
almost
Carpenter's
like Alien. Like, you know,
well, it's you can't tell what it is. It's just this like blob.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they didn't use it.
Yeah.
In the States, that is.
It draws your eye to Morricone's name. Just like right to the right there. It's like, boom, there he is. He did do it. Space uterus. I agree with you, Steve. Space uterus about to kill everything.
It had to be said.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was very excited about this.
Yeah, I love that.
This got a lot of attention on the page.
Oh.
So I had to show it here.
Oh my God. I was just talking about this movie to Becca yesterday about how soul destroying this movie is. And man. And also, I just wrote a chapter for a book about canon today, and I mentioned this movie because this movie proves that, like, the Go-Go Boys aren't from America, because the scene where he brings her an orange tree when she's in the hospital, nobody in the U.S. would do that. That's a very Israeli thing. But man, this is a really good movie, and the soundtrack's great. It's got U2 in it, and U2 is one of the and others in it.
Yeah,
they were U2 and Friends. There, yeah.
You who?
Yeah, and would they? And you, I'm sure Bono was like, I really wish I can't do Bono's accent, but just imagine. I really wish you wouldn't use my music over an abortion scene. And they're like, "Fuck you, Bono. You're nobody right now." And that's how they did it. And
what song is it?
It's not "I Will Fall." It's New Year's Day, I think. I'll have to look it up. But it's not Sunday Bloody Sunday, which would be funny in a weird way.
This is not an abortion song.
Yeah.
This is
We're taking this song back from the abortionists.
Oh, we're going backwards now. Oh,
man,
that's
that
all
is
I
a
had.
beautiful poster. Oh man, I could look at these on.
Well, you're going to look at it for another couple of seconds anyway.
No. Good. Let's look at Silent Rage all night, man. Silent Rage is awesome because they're like, we're sick of seeing Chuck fight humans. What if he fought Frankenstein? Right? Yes, I want to see that. Like 100%. Like, I mean, he can't just sidekick a dude into oblivion. Well, he still can, but it's going to take more kicks. It's real good. Man, make all the Chuck Norris movies. There's not really any. Like, we're kind of moved past that now. Where I guess The Rock's our big action actor, but you're not like, oh, The Rock's going to throw kicks. Look at that playing at the Cannon Theater too, Bill. On the Cannon Classic, which is the old Thorny MI theaters. Holy shit!
How about that?
I got to tell you, I just discovered 2 shot-on-video movies made by a 15-year-old at the time director that are 100% ripoffs of Creepshow, and I'm so excited to share them on the site. Scream Book 1 and 2, and they're both wild. It's outright ripoff Creepshow, which is great. They're a lot shorter than Creepshow. Creepshow feels like it's 9 hours long. But
how could you rip off Creepshow though? I mean, Creepshow was
a
so derivative of so many other movies.
Well,
that came
you
before.
get the idea that this kid didn't know what EC Comics or Amicus was, right? So he just kind of like, oh, well, Creepshow's you know what I mean? If you think about it, that's his like 12 or 13-year-old world.
That's probably true, but you still can't make that kind of, I mean, legally. I'm not talking about like saying it could be a Creepshow ripoff, but I mean, Creepshow couldn't. The makers of Creepshow couldn't say you ripped us off, could they? I'm just wondering out loud.
Yeah. Man,
it would be interesting.
Matt brought up the Chuck Norris pants. They still sell those pants. They have a different name now, but the same pants are available. They have a wider crotch so you can kick people harder. So are you just pulling ads for me this week?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a Diane Franklin kind of thing.
God damn it. This movie. Look at that. They also have a phone number that you can call about the movie.
Thank you. Oh my God. What did it say? I wonder.
So it's probably like they probably was a priest hanging up and putting the phone on the hook. Who's like in the movie? Oh my God. What a perfect ad. What a wonderful movie. I love the 2 looks like 11s. The little X next to it.
It's a little different than the American ad. The font's different for one thing, but that image of the house is different too, I think.
This ad's almost too classy for that movie. Like if you see this ad, you're like, oh, we're going to get a good old-fashioned Fright Fest. No, you're getting incest. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, this is too classy, but so what?
It's dirty, and that's why I like it.
You know why they were having sex? To be angry at God.
So I thought this was interesting. Vice Squad.
Written by the same guy who directed Wonder Woman, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. There's another connection.
Yeah, and he also directed the 2 Angel movies. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
But this is wild double feature because Straw Dogs is like pre-Video Nasty, you know?
With Susan George.
Yeah.
Poor Susan George. I just watched Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry.
Oh, I love that movie. What a downer ending that movie is.
I know. I remember that.
Written by the same person that wrote The Octagon, the Chuck Norris movie.
I remember seeing that at a drive-in when I was a kid. And I think it was one of those things where there was a kids movie first.
Yeah.
And then there was a PG rated movie that, most people, the kids would go to sleep in the back seat because they weren't interested in it. And it was Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. And I watched it and I couldn't believe the ending. I was like, are they dead? Like, what?
What's crazy is I didn't know anything about the ending the first time I saw it. And it blew me away because you totally think that they're getting away. Like that's how every movie you've ever seen ends.
Mm-hmm.
And then that happens. You're like, whoa. And it's like, wow. What a great movie. Oh.
So The Entity had a different ad campaign in the UK too.
Yeah. Wow.
They had a whole bunch of there was a lead up. Oh my God, there's some nipple in this ad. I never even noticed that. It looks like there's some nipple anyway.
Yeah.
Questionable. It's questionable.
That movie has like special effects boob grab in it too. Like there's somebody that had to figure out like how do I make invisible hands do boob grab special effect. Like that's they didn't win an Oscar. Fuck the Academy because like that's an amazing effect. Also, as I've said before, I'll say it again: the best smoking in a movie ever. The end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that thing at the end was so creepy, where they freeze it for half a second, and they have this impression of it, and you're like, "Oh my God!" It's like the Blob.
Also, kind of a downer where they're like, "Yeah, she she got a different house and it still followed her for a couple years. Like no matter what they did, she just kept following it. And like
That's another one of those things. They're like, oh, it's a true story.
yeah. Also, like her boyfriend comes back. Like,
it's true that somebody said it. It doesn't mean it's a true story.
Like her boyfriend comes back and you're like, oh, everything's gonna be okay. Nope, it's gonna get even worse. He's gonna see her getting through. Jerry's gonna watch her get cut by a ghost, and he's gonna dump her. What a horrible boyfriend.
He should get together and form a support group with Rod from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, he totally should. Yeah.
There were different ad designs for it too. Like, look, we had like sort of a blobby apparition thing here.
This is what is that? This is there's no escape from something you cannot see. Wow, that's a great tag.
There were little teasers leading up to it. The Entity playing in the UK.
I love that font for how it's kind of broken up and gets kind of dissolved. It's
kind of Drive-In Asylum double feature, isn't it?
It kind of is.
It could be just like one of our entrance videos.
I'm really into that Creepshow ad. The paintings. I wonder if that's
I got rid of it.
No, it's Bernie Wrightson art from the. Did you have the Creepshow comic that they put out that Bernie did the art for?
Yeah, I did. I used to have 2 copies of it, and I think eventually I sold them. They were valuable for a while.
Yeah, they did a reprint a couple years ago. I got one of the reprint ones, but it's really nice. Like, and I remember when as a kid, just poring over it because I was like, "That's so cool that they put out the actual Creepshow book." It just looks so good.
I remember when it was brand new. I didn't get mine until later because no one would have bought that for me when I was 12.
Oh yeah,
but. It was sort of, one of those things I didn't dare ask for. It was expensive, too. It wasn't like a comic book for real.
I remember going to
graphic novel.
Date yourself by naming a store. I remember when I used to go to B. Dalton and it was on the shelf and I would just dream of having it. And just
Walden Books.
Walden Books, yeah.
Walden Books at Monroeville Mall is where I first saw the Creepshow. Ooh, Romero vibes.
Look, it's fluffy.
Oh, hi, Cubby.
It's fluffy out of the crate. Also, that Scream Book movie rips off the Fluffy sequence too, on a budget of tens of dollars. He sounds frightening behind me. He's like growling behind me.
He's trying to steal your camera.
He smells hot dogs cooking. He's like, hot dogs and French fries. What is going on?
Vivi took off. I can't drag her on camera.
Oh.
She's wearing her Mrs. Voorhees sweater tonight, though, in honor of Friday the 13th.
Oh, I watched.
He said, "Is she a friend of the Christies?"
Oh.
She's an old friend of the Christies.
I texted you that at like 8:30 in the morning on Friday. It just was like the video, and it said, "I'm an old friend of the Christies." I was so excited.
Oh my Lord! So young, so pretty. Oh, what monster could have done this?
We watched 4 and 5 last night.
5. Her grave is just on the side of the road.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's like covered in weeds, and it says Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah.
There's also that old hippie eating a banana. It's just like randomly just sitting there eating a banana. What?
Oh, the one that gets stabbed for no reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is going on in Crystal Lake? Like, it's like I realize it's kind of like upstate New York, right? So I mean, Woodstock's kind of up there and stuff, but like,
it's in Jersey, but I don't know if they say that.
Yeah, I just get the feeling like they're like, this hippie doesn't really fit into the world that we're in. But okay. Also, I like
5. Go ahead.
I like in 4 that guy has worked his whole life to be a hunter and like kill Jason. And when he dies, he's like a bitch. He's like, he's killing me. He's tearing me apart. I never really thought about 5 that much, and I ended up.
How can you not think about Reggie the Reckless?
But I really liked it last night watching it again. I really liked the ending of it. It's just it's really kind of good. Not as good. I like 4 a lot because of the Savini effects, but yeah. We're another year with no new Friday the 13th, so I have to rewatch the same ones over and over.
I think we're all the better for it.
Yeah, I get it. You don't want David Gordon Green's Friday the 13th?
No, well, I mean, I guess whatever.
Well,
You know,
taking
people
the
are
whole
into it.
backstory, and she's not his mother anymore.
She's not his mother anymore. She's just some crazy lunch lady.
She's just it's just this place.
Just this
No,
place.
I mean, if that's your thing and you're excited about another Friday the 13th movie, then great. I don't, they never appealed to me because I like the early ones. Of course, I love the original. I love 2, which I think is, probably better than the first one.
Yeah.
But the first one is just classic to me. Anyway, it's one of those movies that's just like imprinted on my brain. So, of course, I'm going to like that one more. I think 2 is a little better. 3, though, it just was so ridiculous, and it started to lose that serious edge to it. It was almost like more comic booky than anything else with those stupid bikers and everything. They had abandoned all pretense of seeming like this was a real thing that was happening, and it was just sort of like this joke all of a sudden, it seemed like. So I lost interest, but whatever. I mean, like I did like Jason X. I thought that was funny.
I like Jason X.
Jason X is pretty good.
Too.
So do I.
Yeah, that one wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
I like Mike's question. Which Friday has the sexiest Jason? I never thought about that.
Manhattan.
Manhattan is the sexiest Jason?
Yeah.
He said 4 has the sexiest Jason.
He's real buff and
He is.
Manhattan.
Well, he's getting hotter now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's why. Yeah. He'll punch a dude's head clean off. And Jason Goes to Manhattan.
The thing that really freaked me out in Jason X was when he freezes that woman's head in the.
I love the scene where they have the hologram room and they just have the 2 girls making.
Yeah. Like, ooh.
And he just puts them in a sleeping bag and just keeps pounding them into the trees over and over again. It's great. It's and Jason X is really good. Yeah, Jason X is like it's kind of like we can't really do anything after it, and but it's fun.
What couldn't you do after Jason X? So after you've done that, like really, anything else you did would seem tame by comparison. So
My favorite Mike McPadden story is he said that when he saw I think it's Jason Goes to Hell, where Freddy's glove comes out and pulls the mask down. He saw it in a grindhouse in New York City, and there was like a guy that was like that had his like 8-year-old son sitting on his lap, and he said, and his son looked at him, he said, "Dad, Freddy and Jason are gonna fight in hell," and he said it was like a nice father and son moment, but not at the place where they were. It was like a very scary place, and he's like, "What's this kid doing in here?" I love that story. It just makes me happy. But man, Mike really enjoys part 4, so now we know. That's good. The horror realm that's coming up here, Bill, in March has a lot of Friday the 13th stars. If anyone's in Pittsburgh is going to go and wants to meet people.
I'm really bummed I never got to meet Betsy Palmer.
Oh, you know what? I would love to talk. We've talked about it before, but I love that she brought her own weed and wouldn't share it with anyone in the cast, and told them that they couldn't handle it. That someone especially grew it for her, and she said, "Baby, you can't handle this." That's
Wait,
amazing.
she did?
Yeah, supposedly, like she had like super high end weed, and like the kids were. She's like, "You're too young for this. Like you can't handle it." A couple of the actresses, and they would not let them smoke with her, which is awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about Betsy Palmer. I have that meme that I always put up where where I superimposed a joint in front of her face.
Oh yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. But I didn't know that story about her, so that makes it seem even better.
Paul asked, "What's BNS about movies about?" It's not bands about movies. It's BNS about movies. That's my site, and then Bill's site is Driving Asylum, so that's why they're there.
Oops. Wait, I have to get rid of our overlay.
There she is. Oh, what monster could have done this? You know what? I've said it before. Fuck Gene Siskel for giving out her address because he was upset.
I know.
Like, come on.
Well, all he did was tell people to write a letter to her at general delivery in the town where she worked. But still, why would you do that anyway?
Yeah.
It's just rude. She's an actor, and she was, or I don't know, someone got mad on Facebook because they said, why do actresses call themselves actors? So I don't know which to say now. Like when you talk about a woman who appears in movies, is she an actor or is she an actress?
Yeah, that's hard.
But she needs a job. She needed some money to buy a car. So screw Gene. Gene was way off key.
I watched the Dogs of the Year from 1981 the other day, and really they should just call it the movie Sam likes. It was literally a half an hour of movies that I like. I think it was 81 because it started with the that last Irwin Allen movie, The Daytime Ended. Is that what it is?
Oh yeah, the daytime when time ran out.
The time ran out. Yeah,
I think it was when time ran out.
No more disaster movies after this because this is so bad. And I was like,
Kayla said Jason was her husband, so Mrs. Voorhees is her mother-in-law.
Oh, okay. That's what I love about the first one. It's like, it's who is the killer and like that. It's surprising. I really like it.
It doesn't get any better than that for me. Like the way that whole thing was set up, and I can still remember when people didn't like that Jason was the killer in the second one because people said like, well, how could Jason be the killer in Friday the 13th? He was dead. So there were some people that were annoyed by that, and they thought that was stupid. But
3's really the movie that 3 and 4 are the movies that people think of when they think of what Friday the 13th is. Which is funny. It took that many movies to get to what people think the essence of it is. But there you go.
Whatever,
Yeah.
It worked. Millions and millions of people. It's the McDonald's of horror. I think that's why I resent things like Halloween and Friday the 13th is because people just are like, oh, well, that movie's stupid because it's not Friday the 13th or Halloween. Like, and there isn't a franchise behind it. It's not. It's become sort of like almost like sports. It reminds me of sports, which drives me crazy. Like, having a sports team that you're a fan of and everything. It's like, no, these are films. And either the film is good or it's not. And for years and years and years, we've been getting these shitty movies and nobody cares. Like people still keep going to them. So now, like, it's gone beyond going because you're interested in the movie. Now this is your team and your team's playing and you show up for your team.
Or you feel some sense of commitment that you have to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I do the same thing, or at least I did, with all the Halloween sequels, and
somewhere
you know how I feel about 4 through 6, but I was there theatrically for every single one of those. I'm like, well, that's all they needed was for me to go to the movies and pay for a ticket.
There's another universe, a parallel dimension somewhere where I'm sick of Rosemary's Killer, so but that's not here. Here,
I could never be sick of Rosemary's Killer.
Oh, I love Rosemary's Killer.
Pitchfork Massacre, I mean.
Oh yeah, exactly. Both good movies. There's I put up on the site there's a documentary about a movie called End Zone, which is not a real movie, but it's like a mockumentary about a slasher that came out in 1970 that's missing 30 minutes of footage, and the two actors that have been fighting for 50 years about who is really the star of the movie. They both played the killer. It's really funny. It has a ton of real people in it. The Wanted Future Smash is the name of it. If you see it stream, and check it out. It looks pretty good. Mike, I'll go you one better. I hate the new Evil Dead, and I haven't even seen it yet. I'm not excited.
Oh yeah, I'm not excited about that either. I was until I saw the trailer.
Yeah, and you're like if it wasn't called Evil Dead, I would not know it was an Evil Dead movie. Like, it doesn't look like an Evil Dead movie. It also looks like Demons 2, which it's not going to be.
Well, yeah, that's what I was kind of expecting that when I saw the building and everything. I'm like, okay, they got the good vibes going for this one. But I saw that trailer and I was like, oh, that's what it is. It's like this. It's just the same shit that's in every movie. It's like,
but monsters and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not interested in it either.
I like the first Wreck movie. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I like Wreck.
Yeah.
I even thought, usually when there's an American remake of a movie, the original is usually better. But I thought Wreck was as good as the original.
Mm-hmm. I like the Last Evil Dead too, so I was excited about this. But
Oh, that reboot?
yeah, but I don't know. I'm still gonna go see it. Who are we kidding, right?
We're contributing to the problem.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I saw someone write that the other day. It's like horror fans should be ashamed that more people didn't go see that sequel to The Shining, Doctor Sleep. It only did 31 million. You should be ashamed as a horror fan you didn't see it in the theater. And I'm like, no, not ashamed. I can still go see other movies like if I want to. I went to the movies this week, Bill.
Pardon me?
I went to the movies this week.
And
I saw Shin Ultraman in the theater at the Waterfront. And it was great. And it was a totally sold out theater. How weird is that for a Japanese movie about a 70-year-old TV show, 60-year-old TV show? Totally sold out the Waterfront. 2 nights in a row. First night was in Japanese with subtitles. Second night in English. My brother can't read, so we went to the English. But it was a lot of fun. Had a blast. So cool that
hey, that's great.
Yeah, and I'm excited that more, that you can see stuff like that in the theater, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen Skinamarink, but I like saying it a lot. Skinamarink. Or I thought it was a movie about my Friday nights as a teenager on Cinemax, but I found out it was about 2 kids stuck in a haunted house. So, there you go. Yeah. I'm really excited, Bill, by the way, for next week on the site is nonstop 2 weeks of shot on video stuff. I found some insane stuff, including a movie that's several movies that aren't even on IMDb or Letterboxd, which is deep ground to hoe under. But yeah, let me tell you, if you hear me talk about Italian movies, get ready for me to talk about movies that even less people give a shit about for 2 weeks. So I'm excited about that. And Rob from Wild Eye and Visual Vengeance is doing an interview for the site too next week.
What's the interview?
All about what they're planning for this year and next year. There's a bunch of new releases and how he decided to start this new label that releases all shot on video stuff, which is really exciting. So we talked today. We were talking today for a bit, and he said, why don't you just call me and we'll just do this on the phone? I'm like, awesome. So yeah, so that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Fantastic.
I know a few of the things, and a couple of things got spoiled for me because there's going to be a comic book with one of them, and they're doing like a full-length comic of one of the movies, Bill, and I'm really excited about it.
Wow. Is it one we did a commentary for?
It's not. They haven't done commentaries for it yet, but I may have. I can't. It's one that I'm very connected to. How about that? So you can guess which one it is. We may have done a commentary by a movie by the same director. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. So really excited. Todd Sheets already said most of his stuff's coming out too, like Goblin and a few other ones. Have you seen Goblin, by the way? That movie's awesome. I think you'd really like it.
No, that should have been our second feature for tonight instead of Wonder Woman, maybe.
Yeah. It's not streaming anywhere, unfortunately. It's really good. It's kind of like he watched Gates of Hell a whole bunch of times and then made this shot on video movie. That's kind of like they find a goblin in a well and he kills a whole bunch of people. It's pretty good.
More coming your way.
Yeah, get ready. There's at least 3 more that were recorded that haven't come out.
Yeah.
More. We've already been told there'll be more coming up this year.
Everything can't be coming out at once, I guess, when you're a company like Wild Eye. So we're going to be spaced out over 2023.
Yeah, so exciting. We should probably do another one too, Bill.
Yeah, we need to do another one of our informal ones, just for fun. We've already been, how many movies have we said we're going to do that for now, and we still haven't done it?
Speaking of, on Internet Archive, there's tons of stuff to download, right? From there. There is a VHS rip of The Black Room that is better than the one we showed. On there.
Oh wow!
I downloaded it for you, and it looks really good. It's like a really good quality copy of it.
Oh, I can't wait
Mhm.
to watch it. And we do need to do one of our commentaries for The Black Room.
That's a movie. If you didn't watch it when we did it on the show, if you're like, what should I watch? You should watch The Black Room. It's
The Black Room.
Yeah, it should be your 2023. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Also, Mike's right. Night Train, The Terror is another one.
So I dropped the link to Troll 2 in the chat. Anything else you want to say, Sam, before we get to our first feature?
I'm really excited if this is your first watch. I'm excited for you. I wish this was my first watch at Troll 2. I wish I knew nothing about it, and I was about to be confronted by it for the first time. And that's a great feeling, right?
Right on.
Please enjoy.
Okay, so it's on Tubi, so go check it out. We'll be watching along with you. On the Driving Asylum double feature. See you then.